I would like to present the results of our research on the topic Big Data Analysis on the enterprise's business activity under the COVID-19 conditions. Authors are Oleh, Pavlo, Ilchuk, and Olha Kots from Lviv Polytechnic National University. The pandemic crisis of 2020 changes the conditions of doing business for all businesses entities. The problems of preserving business activity, jobs, and competitive advantages, and ensuring profitability, financial stability, and competitiveness have become acute for enterprises. Crises, which are an integral part of the modern economy, require new approaches to analysis. Big data analysis can be used for these needs. It requires a detailed data analysis and forecasting prospects for overcoming the negative consequences of the crisis. I have to say that the application of big data analysis today requires improvement and refinement of practical aspects of implementation because in most cases the traditional approach dominates. Literature review we have made in three main directions. First, what is big data analysis and how and where it can be applied? Second, COVID-19 influence on businesses. And third, how to manage the enterprise's business activity using big data analysis profitabilities. In 2020-2021, the scientists' attention was drawn to new conditions of conducting business activity and the justification of the necessary directions of changes for further effective management. More detailed literature review you can find in our research. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the business environment for all market participants. Quarantine restrictions and the lockdown provoked a number of problems in the enterprise's activities. The biggest problem, around 74% of cases, for enterprises was the disruptions of existing economic relations, which made it impossible to work effectively, even if quarantine restrictions don't have a significant impact on a specific subject. In 49% of cases, late delivery occurred, which also negatively affected the enterprise's business activity and its ability to conduct business effectively. 34% of respondents felt a lack of current assets to maintain business activity at the pre-quarantine level, while 25% of the surveyed enterprises couldn't provide themselves with the raw materials for operational activities. A decrease in demand was noted by only 11% because in a situation where there is no opportunity to cooperate with partners, provide production processes with raw materials, and deliver finished products in a timely manner, the issue of demand for products becomes less relevant because the company is not able to satisfy it. Systemized information about the main changes of business during the COVID-19 pandemic is shown in figure number 2. We can conclude that almost all enterprises had to make changes in their activities because it's no longer possible to work as before the COVID-19 pandemic. 82% of enterprises changed the work process by applying a hybrid approach to the fulfillment of their duties by employees, which in 63% of cases of all surveyed enterprises was able to do so thanks to digitalization of individual processes. In fact, the digitalization of processes and the formation of the possibility for their execution in the online and remote format allowed most enterprises to overcome the negative consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic and adapt to the regime of quarantine restrictions. However, enterprises will need more than 1 year to recover their lost potential. You can see in figure number 3. So if in July 2020, experts claimed that it would take 1 or 2 years to restore the potential lost by enterprises during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then in April 2021, experts changed their opinion and worsened the forecast to 2 or 3 years. And the main reason for this is the worsening of the epidemical situation and new patterns of the disease, which make it impossible to return the activity of economic entities to the previous regime. The enterprise's business activity under the COVID-19 conditions has also been changed. You can see in figure number 4. So 75% of enterprises under the COVID-19 conditions were forced to reduce the scope of their activity and 11% to stop their activities. Of course, there were those market participants who received significant benefits from the COVID-19 pandemic, which allowed them to increase the volume of their activities, but it was only 7% of them. Consequently, in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, enterprises have to change their ways of doing business, adjust their production processes, and adapt to changes. That's why the business activity in most of them is undergoing changes and determines the need for digitalization. The necessary condition for improving the level of an enterprise's business activity is the increase of all coefficients by which is evaluated. However, in real life, especially under COVID-19 conditions, it's rare to achieve such positive dynamics. Therefore, we recommend using the economic mathematical model for calculating the integral indicator of the enterprise's business activity. Since all the coefficients with which the enterprise's business activity is evaluated are dimensional quantities and need to be maximized, the function of calculating the integral indicator of the enterprise's business activity can be presented by formula. You can see it on the slide. The model includes capital turnover ratio, receivable turnover ratio, inventory turnover ratio, payables turnover ratio, and coefficients of economic growth sustainability. We formed a matrix of advantages of business activity indicators based on big data analysis of 150 Ukrainian enterprises that continued to work under the COVID-19 conditions. You can see it here. The next step, we have calculated the weighting coefficients for the economic mathematical model and finished our model. The integral indicator of the enterprise's business activity has its shortcoming because it doesn't make into account qualitative indicators and external factors of influence on business activity. However, having information about the value and dynamics of this integral indicator, the management of the enterprises during decision-making can take into account the indicated shortcomings and additionally consider the influence of external factors and individual qualitative indicators. The directions of the COVID-19 pandemic impact on the enterprise's business activity are shown in figure number 5. As you can see, the enterprise's activity under COVID-19 conditions is characterized by reductions in sales volumes, a decrease in competitive positions, and minor problems in the financial state. First of all, unprofitable activities. An increase in the enterprise's business activity can be achieved thanks to the implementation of a number of measures which are presented in general in figure number 6. Main directions of increasing business activity and increasing the efficiency of property use and the implementation of innovative technologies that will allow the digitalization of certain areas of activity. It's also important to increase the competitiveness of products and search for new sales markets. It's also extremely important to be able to distinguish between those changes and problems in the enterprise's activity that are caused by COVID-19 pandemic. They are temporary, and those that are manifestation of market change trends, they are in every table and have a strategic meaning. The COVID-19 pandemic has made the issue of digitalization a priority to ensure the enterprise's efficiency. Therefore, the transitions to innovation and digitalization of business processes is the basis for improving the enterprise's business activity. On the slide, you can see recommended measures to improve the enterprise's business activity through activities digitalization and the expected risk of their implementation. In order to increase business activity, enterprises are recommended to use digital tools more widely, modernize marketing activities with the formation of a dominant online and its implementation, as well as to strengthen market positions by expanding the range of consumers and product sales markets. Okay, now let's conclude. The basis for developing correct recommendations for business is a detailed analysis of data related to its activity, because the COVID-19 pandemic has caused non-standard and unexpected changes in all spheres of life. In particular, the results of big data analysis on the enterprise's business activity under the COVID-19 conditions showed that there was a real need to implement internal change in the business. The proposed economic mathematical model will allow to unify the approach to the identification and improvement of the level of the enterprise's business activity in an unstable business environment when it's impossible to achieve growth in all indicators of business activity. The research considers digitalization as a tool for improving the enterprise's business activity under the COVID-19 conditions. And in such way, big data analysis is the basis of decision-making in the conditions of change. Considering the non-standard nature of doing business under the COVID-19 conditions and the need for a thorough understanding in this situation and the factors affecting it, thanks to the application of innovative information approaches to data analysis, it's possible to act rationally and develop the business. So, thank you for your attention.